about why you're going to get dazed. All of you. Think about it. This is my assistant coach. This one. So if they up, I help them fix the problem. This is fixing the problem, not on his toes, not picking up his hands.
Sometimes, the story of a fight isn't just about what happens inside the octagon. Sometimes, the real story is about what happens outside of it, inside the gym, inside the corner, and in the mind of the coach who's supposed to prepare his fighter for war. On this night, Dricus du Plessis didn't just lose to Khamzat Chimaev. He got dominated. But strangely, all the post-fight noise wasn't about DDP himself, it was about his longtime coach, Morne Visser. Because before the fight, he laughed at Chimaev's wrestling. During the fight, he gave his fighter advice that left fans scratching their heads. And after the fight, he was a total mess, blaming the referee, dismissing the loss, and even admitting they hadn't fully prepared for Chimaev's grappling. And here's the thing, if your fighter is going up against Khamzat Chimaev, wouldn't wrestling make up 75% of the training camp? This fight didn't just expose Dricus du Plessis' grappling. It exposed his coach. And tonight, we're going to break down how it all went wrong. 4 years, du Plessis and his coach Morne Visser have been a package deal. Visser runs the CIT Performance Institute in Pretoria, South Africa, and together, they dominated the local MMA scene before making their way to the UFC. South Africa isn't exactly known as a hotbed of MMA talent, so when Dricus du Plessis burst onto the scene with his wild, unorthodox striking and insane cardio, people paid attention. That cardio was their weapon. That engine was their edge. And Visser, whether fans liked him or not, was the man in the corner as du Plessis climbed all the way to the top. But here's the big question that always comes with these one-fighter gyms. Did the coach help create the world-class fighter? Or did one special athlete walk through the doors and put the coach on the map? When the fight with Khamzat Chimaev was announced, most analysts predicted a nightmare scenario, because Chimaev is one of the most terrifying grapplers in MMA history. He takes opponents down at will, controls them, smothers them, drowns them. Even elite fighters like Kamaru Usman and Gilbert Burns struggled to keep him off them. The obvious game plan against Khamzat is simple. Survive the storm. Stay on your feet. Make him work harder than he wants to. And drag him into deep waters where your cardio can take over. But what did Visser say? Not only did he dismiss Chimaev's wrestling, he actually claimed du Plessis would finish him on the floor. Let that sink in. Instead of preparing to defend takedowns, instead of drilling escapes, instead of sharpening a sprawl, Visser was out here telling the world that Dricus du Plessis would out-wrestle one of the most frightening grapplers the sport has ever seen. It was bold. It was disrespectful. And, as it turned out, it was delusional. The bell rings. Chimaev shoots almost instantly. And just like that, du Plessis is on his back. And what happened next wasn't just a tough round. It was 5 rounds of domination. Chimaev held Dricus down like it was nothing. First order takedown defense? Non-existent. Second order scrambling? Nowhere to be found. This wasn't just a decisive loss. This was a dismantling. A reminder that no matter how tough you are, no matter how much cardio you've got, if you can't stop the takedown, you don't even get the chance to use those weapons. But here's the most damning part. When du Plessis looked to his corner for answers, they weren't there. Go back and listen to the corner audio. When your fighter is being ragdolled for 5 minutes straight, what do you expect from a coach? Technical adjustments. Tactical advice. Urgency. Dig the underhooks. Push the head down. Circle, scramble, explode on the reset. But instead, Visser told du Plessis to smile. To relax. To wait for Chimaev to slow down. That's not coaching. That's denial. And when the second, third, fourth rounds came, nothing changed. No technical tips. No adjustments. Just blind hope that Khamzat would get tired. By the time du Plessis admitted to his corner that Chimaev was too slippery to take down, the fight was already gone. And the MMA world noticed. Many fans flat out said, once du Plessis is gone, we'll never see this coach again at the highest level. If Visser had stayed quiet after the fight, maybe people would have let it go. But instead, he doubled down. He blamed referee Mark Goddard for not standing them up quicker. He claimed it would only take 12 to 16 weeks to fix the problem. He even said they didn't bother training certain positions, like the crucifix, that Chimaev dominated with. Think about that. They didn't train the crucifix position when preparing for Khamzat Chimaev. To most coaches, that sounds insane. To Visser, it was just another excuse. Here's the truth. Khamzat Chimaev has the ability to hold down just about any middleweight on the planet. Losing to him isn't shameful. But the way du Plessis lost, that was concerning. And the way his coach handled it, that was alarming. Was this a case of arrogance? Of a small gym being a big fish in a small pond? Or was it simply a coach who has never seen his fighter dominated like that before, and froze in the moment? Whatever the reason, Visser was exposed. Not du Plessis. Not really. The fighter fought with heart. But the coach, he fought with delusion. Now, the big question, what happens if there's a rematch? Visser says he just needs a few months to fix this problem. But how do you close a gap that massive? How do you erase years of world-class wrestling with a few months of training? That's the challenge du Plessis faces. If he truly wants to reclaim his belt, he's got to evolve beyond the limitations of his coach's strategies. Because in MMA, you don't just fight your opponent. You fight their preparation. You fight their game plan. You fight the brains in their corner. And on this night, Morne Visser was thoroughly outcoached. So fight fans, was this the end of Dricus du Plessis' title run? Or was it the brutal lesson he and his coach needed to finally evolve to the next level? Only time will tell. But one thing's for sure, when you fight Khamzat Chimaev, delusion isn't a strategy. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that subscribe button. We post weekly fight analysis, news, and deep dives just like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.